What's up, guys? This is Aaron, Mr. Technical Misfit himself, back at it again. This is episode 2 of the Stay Teched Up podcast, and I want to thank you guys for riding with us and enjoying the podcast. And like I said, make sure if you enjoy this podcast, you hit that like and you hit that subscribe button, and also make sure you share with everyone that you know. Now, we're going to jump right into it today, and today's topic is kind of a weird one here, and this is one that I think a lot of people will enjoy. But we're going to talk about smartwatches. Are they cliche or are they necessary? Like, do you have to have a smartwatch? Now, smartwatches for me, or even let's back it up a little bit, watches for me has been one of those things that I just always loved. I always wore a watch, like no matter what. I'm the person that actually had on a watch, and I'm talking about traditional watches. And my history of watches, man, go all the way back to grade school, elementary school. Like, men in my family wore watches, so I felt like, hey, I had to wear a watch. So the one thing and the reason why I love watches, and no matter if it's a smartwatch or a traditional style watch, I just like the feeling of having on a watch. Like, for me, I feel naked if I don't have on a watch. That is the one piece of jewelry that I absolutely wear every day, all day. I don't take a watch off until I get ready to get in the shower, get into bed. So watches for me are just those things. I love the art of the timepieces. They are still by any means, and I don't care what anybody says, we can argue about it all day, every day. But it is definitely faster to look down at your watch than it is to pull the phone out your pocket and check the time. So I don't want to hear anything about that. That is it. I've spoken. Watches are the business. And then as far as just the feeling of, like I said, having on a really, really nice timepiece, and this is I'm speaking for traditional watches. And I think that's where smartwatches kind of fall apart for me. Now, I'm not one of those people that just jumping on the bandwagon of smartwatches. Like, I've had a history of smartwatches. I mean, I've had every smartwatch to come out probably, and even when they first started, and that is the one thing. But I never, ever, ever felt the same as wearing a traditional watch. Like, one of my favorite watches is the Citizen Echo Drive watch, and I do have a Blue Angels watch. And by the way, listen to me right here, citizen. If you guys make a smartwatch, I promise a lot of people will buy this watch. Like, trust me on this. Can you guys imagine a Blue Angel Citizen watch that is a smartwatch? Like, I'm just saying. Like, you don't have to take my word for it, but I promise you, a lot of people will actually buy that watch. Old, young, new, never ever put on a watch before, because I think that is just Citizen makes some of the best watches. So that's just my little 30-second rant on Citizen. You definitely need to make a smartwatch. I'm sorry. Like, you don't make one right now. We need that. We need that right now. But back to the smartwatch thing. So I've been wearing a smartwatch, or I've had a smartwatch or own smartwatches for ever since the LG G Watch. That was the very first Android smartwatch that was available to the public, like mass available. And of course, me being a tech guy, technical misfit, of course, I was one of the first ones to get one. And the watch was cool. I mean, it was the first generation smartwatch. People were just happy to see some of the things, even though how minor and minute that you could actually do on this watch. And trust me, it was slow, it was horrible, especially what we have now. But that watch was one of those watches that a lot of people was like, hey, I can probably get behind this. This is one of the things. And I mean, of course, from there, like I said, I've had a good history with smartwatches. I own the Moto 360. I own the Huawei watch. Now, let me stop here. The Huawei watch, even to this day, is probably my favorite watch of all the smartwatches. Like, it checked all the boxes for me, and we'll get into some of those boxes a little bit later on into this podcast. But shout out to Huawei, man. You guys made a damn good watch with that one. And then, of course, I went on my long run with Apple. I had the Apple Watch 1, 2, and 3, and yes, the latter one was the LTE version of the watch. I mean, I decided to try it. The only reason why I went from the 1 to the 2 was because I was one of those lucky people that had the watch that separates when it comes off the charger, which Apple decided to upgrade me to the Apple Watch 2. So I appreciate that. And then, of course, now I own a Galaxy watch. And again, like I said, Huawei is my favorite. It's still my favorite watch of all time as far as the smartwatch is concerned. But I can't lie, the Samsung Galaxy Watch is a very, 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 very close second. I mean, this watch is a really, really nice watch. Now, my problem that I've always had with smartwatches is, and the one thing, the gripe I have about Apple, smartwatches do not look like watches. Like, hear me out. For me, a nice watch, nice timepiece. First of all, it needs to be round. I'm sorry. I just love a round watch. To me, that's what a watch should be. And I know some people have their own kind of ideas about that, but I just think a watch should be round. So first off, Apple, you do everything else great. I mean, I think you make a phenomenal watch. But it doesn't look like a watch. Like no matter how much you try to dress up, um, Apple Watch, you still know it's an Apple Watch. Like that is the thing. And I think that's why a lot of people even buy that watch. Is because when you see it, you know it's an Apple Watch. Me, I'm on the other end of that spectrum. I want it to be and want it to look like a nice timepiece. So that is the first thing for me when I look at a smartwatch. Like, does it look like a watch? I mean, we are talking about watches here, and the fact of the matter is that a nice timepiece like that is a watch is a piece of jewelry. Let's just be honest with you. Apple tried to sell you guys on that, and everybody, not even just you guys, when they introduced the gold edition and all that craziness, and the prices skyrocketed for those watches. Like that was ridiculous. But it is a timepiece. It is a piece of jewelry. It is a piece of fashion. So I'm sorry. Number one, the smartwatch has to be round for me, and it has to actually look like a watch. That's why Huawei was one of my favorites. They had a actual great presentation on that watch, and if you go check out the YouTube channel, I actually have a video that I done on that maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. Actually, it's probably been longer than that now, but it looked like a watch. The presentation was a watch. I mean, it was even so dope. Like it came in a watch box. It had a watch pillow. Like people that actually own nice watches understand what I'm talking about. That was a very, very good presentation. And then, as far as being a smartwatch, it did a pretty damn good job of doing everything that you want in a smartwatch. So that is my kind of rant on the smartwatches. Now, as far as when I go on and I'm looking at a watch and I go into smartwatches, which brings to our topic, is it cliche or are they necessary? Or do we buy smartwatches just to be a status symbol? Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, you buy a really nice watch because you want people to know that you have money. No, that's not the case, at least not for me. The thing about a really nice watch is it just, like I said, the health of the health, the girth of the watch. It lets you know this is a really nice timepiece. I mean, as far as the watch just being able to keep up with time, because that's what a watch is for. I mean, smartwatches do a lot more things. So when you get into some of these smartwatches, like let's be honest, we need you to do the number one thing first and do it well, and that is be a damn watch. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's nice and it does all these other things, and we're gonna get to those things of what we want it to do, but ultimately, we want you to be a watch. That's why I say I don't know why watch manufacturers just don't work out a deal to license some of this technology to themselves. I mean, and Fossil is doing that now. And then there are a couple of others. I think Michael Kors and some of the others are following suit. But let the watchmakers make the watch and then let the technology guys put the extra added features into that. But I digress. I get off on a tangent. So we're going to jump back into the actual topic here. And the question is, do you need them? And for me, I think everybody needs a watch. I just think that that is, like I said, just a common thing that you want to know. You want to keep up with the time. You want to know where you are. Yes, I do feel like everyone needs a watch. Now, when we get into the smartwatch territory, like what is it that we're purchasing? What is this price of admission that we're paying that can get up to, $1,000 if you really want to be honest about it? But realistically, we're probably looking at 2 to 300 maybe even $400 on a watch. And let's be honest, you can go out and buy a really, really nice timepiece that will last a really, really long time for that amount of money. So what do you get for this? Like, are we just buying over glorified fitness trackers? And of course, my second part of wanting a smartwatch and some of the things that I wanted to do would be, yeah, I want to be able to count those fitness aspects of it. I want to be able to count my steps. I want to be able to tell me theoretically how many calories being burned. When I do go work out, I want it to show me my heart rate. And I know Apple has been really, really pushing this as a medical device, and we'll put a pin in that and come back later because I don't think we're quite there yet on that. But hey, it's cool. If that's what they want to claim, they prevent people from falling and all that type of stuff. All that is good. But at the end of the day, we want it to be a watch. And also, if we're going to get into those smartwatches and the price of admission, let's make sure that these watches are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like, not just buy it because it's a status symbol, or not just buy it because, hey, it's a fashion statement, which is cool. I mean, watches are meant to do that, but my thing is, if it's been a smartwatch, it needs to do all of that and more. And I'm gonna give Apple some credit here because I read recently that they're introducing Apple Smart Keys or something like that. I don't remember exactly what they're calling it, but it's supposed to be able to let you start your car from your watch. Now, that to me is dope. Like, that is one of the things, and I've always said that in one of my blogs and the Internet of Things. Like, I feel like these smartwatches, especially if they're getting into this price realm and you want to pull people away from traditional watches, you need to make them do more. Like, if it's going to be a fitness tracker for me, let me be able to share that information with my doctor when I go. And I know a lot of people are getting into it and we have to wait. Oh, we have to wait for the technology to catch up. We have to wait for do all this and all that. But let me be able to share that information. Let me be able to, when if something was to happen, that the EMTs or the emergency response guys can take a look at it and get some information off of my device that could probably help me save my life. Now, if you tell me I'm able to do that, then you're right. I will start moving over more from traditional watches to the smartwatch because now it's feeling a need, it's feeling a void that other than just telling me the time. So let's get into that. Another thing is, let's start using smartwatches if they're going to be quote unquote smart. Let's use them to unlock doors. Like, who doesn't want to come home? I mean, we're getting into that realm now to where everything gets tied in with the Internet of Things. And I know a lot of people think this is, oh, it's getting scary. But I mean, like, look, come on. You've given up your privacy for convenience because you got a cell phone in your pocket. Definitely if you have a smartwatch on your wrist. So if we're going to give up that privacy, let's get something in return. Like, let's make it to where we can open doors. We can come in and kids go to school and you can scan your locker. Or even this, let's even say this. I live in an apartment complex now that has a gate. Instead of me trying to keep up with another RFID card and open my gate, let me just stick my watch out and scan my watch. Let me scan my watch to open my car door. I mean, these are some of the things that I feel like a lot of manufacturers are missing out on when it comes down to being a smartwatch, quote unquote. I mean, let's do all of that. Let's get that integrated because then at that point, you've already given them your information. I mean, they already have that. So let me get some convenience out of it. Let me get some of the things that I want back from it. And then ultimately, let's get into these watches. When you have on a nice watch and it looks like a watch and it's able to do all of that, I mean, why not? If you tell me, hey, I can do X, Y, and Z. You can open your house. You can use your watch as a wallet, which shout out, you can do that now. That's pretty dope. I mean, I take advantage of that every chance I get. But it's also a fitness tracker. It also can save your life. It also is your car keys. It's also your house keys. It also can initiate you sleeping and tracking your sleep. And not only that, like, this is the pretty much extension of that cell phone, that supercomputer that you have in your pocket, not only just for notifications, but a way to interact with everything that's around you. And I think that is where smartwatch, excuse me, crossover from being a cliche to absolutely being necessary, because then it's worked its way into an integral part of your life. And I know a lot of manufacturers, that's the dream. And I know we got to get into the technology and we have to get there. But I think if we start pushing the envelope, then that will become one of those things that, hey, you absolutely have to have. And manufacturers want that. They want you inside that ecosystem. Like me right now, I'm inside Samsung's ecosystem. I have a Galaxy phone, I have a Galaxy Watch, I have Galaxy Buds. Just like people with Apple, they have a iPhone, they have an iPad, they have an iMac, they have AirPods, they have Apple Watch, like that ecosystem. And in order for the betterment of everybody, no matter what ecosystem you're in, let's get this technology going and get it out of just being cliche or look, she has on the latest or he has on the latest Apple Watch to, hey, this is actually something that's helping me throughout the day. Like when I go to the doctor, I can scan and it brings up all my medical information right there. So the doctor can see what's going on with me, sees my heart rate is a little up, I'm excited, how much blood pressure being kind of trending, what's my glucose level, like all of that. That is the dream. I mean, I know a lot of people gonna say, "Oh, well, there's privacy." Like, you might as well go ahead and get ready for that. That is the future. If these manufacturers have their way, that is the actual future. I mean, they're going to know so much about you because you're giving up those privileges of privacy to be able to have the convenience. And is it worth it? It depends. I mean, if you ask someone that fell off a mountain, like Apple said, and the watch was able to detect them following and send out their information, I'm pretty sure they'll tell you, damn the privacy. I'm happy somebody was there to come get me when I fell. So it was totally worth it to them. So don't get afraid or don't get all caught up in that. So at the end of the day, these are my thoughts on it. Make watches be watches, no matter if they're smart, dumb, traditional, however you want to call it. If they're going to be a smartwatch, give us some convenient freedoms. Give us some things that absolutely will make it a smartwatch. Like all those things that I've rattled off here in this podcast. I mean, and also continue to work on the battery life or make it where, hey, I can put this thing down for 2, maybe 3 minutes and I'm back at 100% because ultimately this is a lifeline for me. I mean, it's my wallet, it's my car keys, it's the way I get in my house, it's the way I communicate with everyone. It's ultimately everything. Is my extension of my cell phone. And imagine this. Just think of this, and I'll leave you guys with this. What if your phone gets down to the size of your watch? What is what if that is your phone from here on out? I mean, something to think about, man. I mean, that way you take out the whole interface of carrying around a device. This thing is on your watch. I mean, this thing is on your wrist, and it's always there. Simple, easy, plain. So, guys, let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments, man. We can get a discussion going. Of course, anytime, all the time, I'm always open to hear what you guys think. If you agree with me, cool. If you don't agree with me, cool. But let's talk about it. Always make sure you like, subscribe, share this thing. Hope you guys enjoying the podcast, man. And like I said, we're gonna bring more and more episodes. I'm gonna continue to get better, and we're gonna rock the podcast out, man, because I'm having fun doing these. So until next time, guys, stay teched up.